Today we are talking about scheduling your life as a creative person so that you can definitely get to your creative passion. Even though you have a very busy life with lots of stuff to take care of, we're going to help you pencil it all in so that you can get to your creative passion and live your best life. That's coming up. What's going on, everybody? I am Youngman Brown, and this is Your Creative Push, the podcast and the YouTube channel that's all about helping you to push past your creative resistances so that you can live your best creative life. And this is the third video in my series about productivity and time management tips for artists. And you don't have to watch all the videos in the series, but I do suggest that you watch the first two in the series because this builds upon them. But this video is all about scheduling your day as a creative person so that you prioritize your creative passion above or at least equal to all of the other important life things that we all have to do, such as a job, such as kids, such as sleep and exercise and all the other things that you want to get to or have to get to in your life. So today I'm going to be sharing with you 7 of my best tips for the actual process of scheduling, making a calendar, making a schedule for yourself so that you can make those priorities right. Now, the first tip I have for you in relation to scheduling your time is to go big to small. So this relates to the first video in the series about creating your artistic thesis statement, that big audacious goal that you have for yourself, for your creative life. Have that in mind as you make your yearly goal. It's often said that we overestimate what we can get done in a day and underestimate what we can get done in a year. So give yourself a big audacious goal. It might not be your entire creative thesis statement, but it could be a large chunk of it. Have that in mind as you have your yearly goal. And then if you can, chunk that down into 12 segments, 12 monthly goals, so that you can get smaller chunks of this big goal down that you can actually achieve and actually measure. So it's important to have that big yearly goal in mind every single day because you're going to be blocking off time every single day for yourself to get to that goal in small ways, and you're going to be protecting that time with all your might. Now, the second point I want to drive home to you is weekly goals. And weekly goals are going to be closely related to your monthly and your yearly goals. And I like weekly goals better than I like daily goals because day to day, your life changes and you can't anticipate all of the things that come up in your life from day to day. And if you have daily goals and you don't hit them, it gets a little bit demoralizing and even harder sometimes the next day to get to your goals when you feel like you have to catch up. So I like thinking weekly. And the important thing about your weekly goals is they can stay the same from week to week because they are related to your monthly and your yearly goals, which relates to your artistic thesis statement. I hope you're seeing the importance here that I have for having that one mountaintop that you're striving for, because it does take the pressure off a bit from yourself from day to day when you don't quite get to all the tasks that you want to get to. So your weekly goals can be anything from productivity to simply mindset of enjoying the creative act, enjoying being a creative person, and enjoying the fact that you are actually chunking out time for yourself and blocking off time for yourself to get to your creative passion. So the weekly goals can give you that sort of middle point, that anchor point between your daily productivity goals and your monthly and yearly long-term creative goals for yourself. And it gives you something that's achievable, but something that can continue from week to week that you don't have to feel ashamed of if it doesn't get crossed off or checked off. And now here at the third tip, we're finally at the time where I start writing things down into my schedule. I do this on Sunday nights right after I write my weekly goals. I look at my week ahead and I look at the time that I already have scheduled out for doctor's appointments or dates with my wife, or that whole big chunk of time, 5 days a week, that's devoted to work. And I schedule my important tasks and my most difficult tasks. And not only do I take the time to schedule these things first, but I also try to schedule them first in my day. so that I'm able to actually achieve as much as I possibly can while I'm still fresh, while I still have that energy in my day, for two reasons: because I have that energy, but also because it catapults the rest of my day and makes me feel so much more productive through the rest of my day once I'm able to actually get those difficult and important things done. Because I'll find myself, if I haven't, sitting at work dreading the fact that I have to go home from work to do those things, and it makes me stressed out the entire day. So schedule the important tasks and the difficult tasks first so that you can make sure that they are actually in your calendar, in your schedule, and schedule them early so that you actually get to them and enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully have that trophic cascade effect with the rest of your day so that you can actually be more productive in all the other tasks that you'll also schedule coming up. Now that you've appropriately scheduled your week to include all the non-negotiable stuff that you have involved with your life, as well as all the important and difficult tasks related to your creative passion, it's time to take all those swirling tasks that are going on in your head, all these things that you need to get to, getting them out of your head and putting them down on paper. But before you put them down into your sacred calendar, your sacred time, it's important to ask yourself two questions. The first question is, does this thing need to get done? Do I have to do this thing? And the second question is, do I have to do this thing now? Now, if the answer to both of these questions is yes, then you're clearly going to want to block off a period of time in your calendar and add it there. But if the answer to the first question is yes, it is important, but no, it's not pertinent, and I can get to this later, then you're going to want to write this down on a separate list, a to-do list. And this to-do list can be long. That's okay. We're going to talk about what you're going to do with that to-do list at a different time. But it's first important to get it out of your head so it's not swirling around down on paper. But you don't want to prioritize it the same way that you prioritize the important, pertinent tasks that are going into your calendar, because that's just going to add much more pressure to yourself and you're going to overload yourself with tasks. So your art making and things that have a deadline perhaps, or things that you need to get done this week, are important, but so are updating your website or backing up files or all this other stuff that has to get done at some point. But when you prioritize them all together, you're not going to have enough time in a week to get to all of them. And it's important that you separate them so that you can divide and conquer and get done the important stuff, but not be thinking about all of the other stuff. We'll find the time to get to those things, but it's important that you separate them and don't include them in your weekly calendar. Now, the fifth tip I have for you is to include the amount of time that each task is going to take you right there on your calendar. Now, this relates to the second video in the series about giving yourself a time audit. So you should have an idea about how long each of these tasks takes you. And if you haven't done the task yet, it's a new task, give yourself a realistic estimation of how long it's going to take, and maybe even give yourself some extra time. Human beings are ridiculously optimistic when it comes to predicting how long tasks are going to take, whether it's driving to work or making dinner or making art. So don't set yourself up for failure by overloading your schedule. Plan accordingly. Write down the times that each task is going to take and set yourself up for success. Now, my sixth tip is short and sweet and fun. It's schedule fun stuff for yourself. Schedule activities into your calendar that you enjoy, whether it's every day a little bit or an entire day devoted to just hanging out and breathing in. And you can check out my Gamify Your Life video if you want to find out more about this. But it's really important that you find some balance so that you're not grinding all day long and burning yourself out. Plan those times to have enjoyment and to bring in stuff, some input into your life that you can bring back out into your art. Now, my seventh and final tip is probably my most important tip. The whole purpose of doing this, of scheduling your life, is so that you can get all of the tasks and all of the things that you have to do out of your head and down onto paper so that you can focus more on the actual act of making art and really any activity that you have that's important enough to put on your calendar. So it's very common, and this is something that I struggled with when you make checklists and when you make schedules, to feel that hustle, that adrenaline to just get stuff done. Go, 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 go. But the whole purpose of scheduling it out is so that you can have a plan in place, and so that you can just live your life and go by the plan that you set forth for yourself smartly. So instead of having that drive, it's important to have a drive, but instead of having that as you're getting to your art, realize that you've blocked off this time for yourself when you're getting to that art, where you don't have to think about all the questions about, okay, what am I going to do later today? Am I spending my time wisely? It gives you that freedom to be able to experiment and to feel like you can mess around and have fun. And when you're getting to that block of time for your art, you should feel that way. You should feel like the pressure's off. All the rest of your day is figured out. So just relax and try to bring that into all your tasks, whether it's going to the doctor or driving to work or exercising or sleeping. Just try to take a deep breath and try to enjoy your life. The past you has scheduled it out and figured it out. So just walk the path and enjoy it. In our next video, we're going to be talking about that checklist that I told you to make, and how we're going to take all those tasks that you're going to get to eventually and make them a reality. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
This could go on for infinity.